Welcome back. Today we'll be talking about mindfulness for extroverts. And what I would like for you to do is to recall a time when you were at a social gathering and there was someone whom you may or may not have known, but you could certainly hear them across the room, right? They weren't necessarily being rude, but their voice was very domineering and their actions forced attention towards themselves. They were seeking attention deliberately. And so an extrovert is defined as someone who is outgoing and overtly friendly. Right? Very overtly is the key word. And we should all be friendly, right? And kind towards one another. But it's really the overtness that symbolizes being out of balance or harmony with oneself. When someone is deliberately loud in this way, they are seeking attention and acceptance. They are craving or holding on to this desire, and that's what leads to that imbalance. Typically, they may feel unworthy inside. And remember, this is not the same type of behavior one displays when we're trying to cheer up a friend, right? When we want someone to feel comfortable or maybe they're going through a rough time or something. That's not the same type of overtness that we are referring to. So, what is there to do? Or can this excessive overtness be reflected upon with mindful consideration? Yes, it can. But let's delve a little deeper as to where this comes from internally. And perhaps you've experienced some of these situations or know someone who else has. But think about, was there a time when you were growing up that maybe you were, routinely picked on? You, for whatever the reason, were singled out, made to feel inferior or unworthy of who you were and the beauty that you had inside you. They made you feel, terrible about yourself. When you're younger, it's hard to have that emotional maturity sometimes. So, as a defense mechanism to be liked by others, maybe you resorted to humor, deliberately calling what you assume to be a positive attention to yourself, right? So you tried to deflect or project feelings of happiness and jovialness towards someone else. So you had to get louder, right? So they weren't, whoever was maybe continuously picking on you, maybe, they kind of stopped and like, oh, wow, he's actually pretty funny. But that's you trying to deflect or to bury the feelings of sadness and the unworthiness that maybe you felt as a youngster. And so perhaps you thought to yourself, if I can make people laugh, they won't pick on me. And a lot of comedians are like that too. A lot of comedians have challenging and lives growing up, and this is how they have learned to express themselves. And that may be a true assumption that if you can make somebody laugh, they won't pick on you. But think about what you just did. You had to hide yourself, to not accept yourself, just so you could fit into someone else's narrative. And as a result, you've harmed yourself. You weren't true to yourself, to the beauty that you had. Many years go by, right? And then this harmful behavior has now become so ingrained into your adult behavior that It's very noticeable. So, how do we learn to love ourselves deeply and return to that beauty that we have inside? There, buried deep inside with us. That's still there. Hasn't gone anywhere. Just has a lot of overgrowth around it. So what we can do is we can sit in mindful reflection and say to ourselves, where does this need for approval come from? Where does it originate from? And maybe we can think about some specific situations. We can think about, why am I still suffering so much from the past? Why do I feel the need for someone else's approval? So why do we hold on? Why do we let go? Or why do we not let go of those traumatic experiences many, many years after? So when we reflect more deeply, don't feel shame. Shame is a controlling behavior, and that is destructive to that positive and well-balanced mindset that we are all working towards to keep and manifest. So we can let go of the past. Right? The past no longer exists and no longer presents a danger. Right? You are nurturing the past and holding on when you do so. So let it go, just like a cloud blowing in the wind. Think about the past and just let it blow away. It's no longer there. It cannot hurt you any longer. When we truly accept the beauty we have within ourselves, we find that we don't need to be loud or overtly friendly to develop meaningful relationships. The relationships that we seek will begin to blossom more vividly and lovingly than ever before when we truly embrace with compassion and empathy towards others and towards ourselves. That's when that happens. And with that, my friends, something for you to consider as you move forward in your mindfulness practice. And I wish you all a day of peace and ease. Here, my friends.